Dark Jewel of Arcanea. Chapter 4: The Auction of Shadows. The night before the auction was a restless one, the city of Arcanea whispering its secrets through my window. I spent it piecing together what I knew: the amulet, the magpie, and the undercurrents of magical crime that ran beneath Arcanea's surface. The city felt like a living spell, each part interconnected, and I was about to dive into one of its darkest veins. The old clock tower, a relic from a time when mechanical wonders rivaled magic, loomed over the city. Its hands were frozen at midnight, a fitting time for the clandestine gathering I was about to infiltrate. I donned a cloak, its enchantment providing a shadow that clung to me like a second skin, perfect for blending into the night. After the harrowing incident the other night, I concluded that a heightened level of caution was not just necessary but paramount. The shadows of Arcanea seemed to have eyes, and the attack wasn't just a random act of violence. It was a calculated warning. Every step I took now felt like walking on a tightrope strung over a chasm of danger. My senses were on high alert, each noise, each flicker of light, potentially a herald of another threat. I knew now to trust no one, to question every shadow, and to keep my guard up at all times. The city had shown its teeth, and I had felt their bite. Now, every alleyway, every corner, every whisper of magic in the air demanded a second look, a third check. In Arcanea, even the air you breathed could be laced with deceit or danger. The entrance to the auction was hidden beneath the old clock tower, where the city's architecture seemed to twist and turn with the caprices of magic. I navigated the Undercity's labyrinthine paths, my senses sharpened for any sign of traps or prying eyes. The air here was charged with anticipation, the kind that set your skin tingling with the imminent threat of spells. I arrived at the venue, directly under the shadow of the clock tower, its hands eternally stuck at midnight. This place, once a grand hall for timekeeping, now served those for whom magic was currency. The entrance was guarded by two imposing half-orcs, their red eyes alight with the glow of protective enchantments. With a swift, whispered incantation, I cast minor illusion, transforming my appearance into that of a notorious buyer from the darker echelons of Arcanea's market. They scrutinized me for a moment before nodding in recognition, allowing me to pass into the heart of the night's illicit trade. Inside, the room was a cacophony of whispers and the low hum of suppressed magic. Attendees were a mix of nobility in disguise, crime lords, and those like myself, on the hunt for something more than just wealth. The auctioneer, a figure shrouded in shadows, stood on a raised platform, his voice carrying through the room with a spell of amplification. "We have here," he began with a voice that resonated through the dimly lit room, "items of power, of history, of darkness. Let us start with..." His words began to blur into the background as I surveyed the opulent decay surrounding me. The room was filled with faith, high-class filth to be sure, a veneer of sophistication over a foundation of corruption. The elite of the underworld sat around me, their wealth and influence controlling the ebb and flow of illicit and illegal activities that drove the city like a pulsing dark heart. My attention drifted back to the auctioneer as he dramatically announced, "The piece de resistance. An amulet, once thought lost." The room seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation and the lingering scent of old money and forbidden desires. My heart quickened. There it was, suspended in a magical field, its glow muted but potent. I moved closer, analyzing the crowd, looking for the magpie. The bidding started. I had to play this carefully. Raising my hand, I entered the bidding, my voice low but steady. 200 gold pieces. The bids climbed, each one pushing the price higher, the tension in the room palpable. Then, a voice from the shadows, smooth as silk over steel. 1,000 gold pieces. That was him, the magpie. I spun around, barely catching a glimpse of a shadowy figure cloaked in deep, inky darkness. The most striking feature was the ornate mask that concealed his face, meticulously crafted into the likeness of a magpie, each feather delicately etched and glinting in the dim light. His eyes, sharp and piercing, caught the glow of the amulet, gleaming with an intensity reminiscent of a bird of prey on the hunt. I needed that amulet, but not to keep. I needed to understand its true purpose. I bid again, my voice cutting through the murmurs. 1,500. The bidding war continued, but I was outmatched in wealth. The one I impersonated never bid more than this on any items. If I bid more, suspicion would be aroused. The magpie won, his chuckle a whisper of victory as he approached to claim his prize. I had to act fast. My hand slipped into my cloak, pulling out a small, enchanted vial, a sleep potion, enough for one. As the magpie reached for the amulet, his focus entirely on the glittering prize before him, I made my move. The crowd's collective gaze was fixed on the artifact, oblivious to the subtle dance of shadows behind them. With the magpie's attention forward, I deftly slipped the vial into the drink he casually held in his back hand, the liquid within the vial mingling with his beverage unnoticed. Moments later, after he raised his celebratory drink and retreated to the shadowed recesses of his booth, he slumped forward, the potion taking effect. The crowd, their eyes greedily fixed on the next item up for auction, remained oblivious. Seizing the opportunity, I made my exit, deftly purloining the amulet as I wove through the distracted throng to the dimly lit escape routes of the venue. Outside, the city's night was my ally. I hurried through the undercity, my mind racing. The magpie would wake soon, and when he did, I'd be in his sights. But for now, I had what I came for, though the true nature of the amulet was still a mystery. Back in my office, I shut the door with a resounding click, the sound echoing like the final note of a spell cast under the shadows of Arcanea. The city's heartbeat pulsed through the walls, a constant reminder of the peril I had just narrowly escaped. The air was thick with the promise of discovery, or perhaps doom, as I settled at my desk, the amulet lying before me like a treasure from an age where magic was both revered and feared. I pulled the amulet closer, its magic now as clear to my senses as the daylight was to the city dwellers above. It thrummed with an energy that whispered of secrets and power, making it evident that this was no mere decorative trinket. It was a key, but to what, I still had no clue. Yet I knew in my bones that whatever it unlocked could very well shake Arcanea to its very foundations. I began my inspection with the tools of my trade, the old, reliable set of thieves' tools that had served me through countless locks and secrets. With deft fingers, I prodded and poked at the amulet, feeling for any mechanical triggers or hidden catches that might reveal more than its surface suggested. The metal was cool to the touch, its surface smooth yet subtly textured, hinting at the complexity within. But this was no ordinary lock, and soon, I turned to magic, my true ally in the dance of discovery. I cast Detect Magic, and the room was momentarily filled with a soft, ethereal glow, outlining the amulet in hues of arcane light. The patterns on its surface began to shift, revealing not just the magic imbued within but also the presence of a hidden compartment, a secret nestled within secrets. With a mage hand, I manipulated the amulet, turning it over, watching as the light played off its curves, revealing more than the eye could see. There was a pattern, a sequence of magical symbols that, when traced in the correct order, would unlock this hidden chamber. My fingers, guided by both skill and magic, traced the sequence, feeling the amulet respond, its magic vibrating in tune with my touch. A click, not of metal but of magic, resonated through the room, and with a gentle push, a compartment opened where no seam had been visible before. Inside lay a miniature scroll, so finely rolled it seemed more like a piece of thread than parchment. I gently tilted the amulet, and it slid out. As it hit the table, it magically grew back into a normal, full-sized scroll. Carefully, I unfurled it, revealing script in an ancient, flowing hand, its ink shimmering with the residue of long-forgotten spells. With a whisper that barely disturbed the stillness of my office, I cast Read Magic, hoping the spell would illuminate the secrets hidden upon the scroll. The room was bathed in the soft, blue glow of magic, yet the spell's light faded without yielding any more comprehension. With that thought in mind, next I attempted Comprehend Languages, a spell that had never failed me in translating the myriad tongues of Arcanea, both spoken and written. But again the magic failed, the words, if there were any, remained locked away in silence. I sat back, the light from my enchanted lamp casting long shadows across my desk, and pondered. The failure of these spells could only mean one thing. The text was concealed behind a complex cipher, a puzzle of magic and logic that would require more than just the brute force of spells to unravel. The amulet lay before me, its surface now appearing almost defiant in its silence, a mute testament to the layers of protection its creator had woven into it. The clock tower's chimes rang out in the distance, a reminder that time, unlike the secrets of this city, was always moving forward. But as I studied the scroll, the night felt endless, the city outside my window a silent witness my failures.